Alrighty, hello and welcome to Just Grasp 1. I am your host, Otilio, and I am going to be commentating over a match that happened a while ago in loser's bracket of the Just Grasp 1, which was Hammy versus Chibi, or StellaGalaxia as you may know them. This match was from quite a while ago. I was sent the recording a while. I just didn't get around until to commentating it until now. So here we go. I want to skip ahead. This is a YouTube video that was recorded by Hammy and sent to me so that I could go ahead and get this commentated and taken care of. All right. And here comes the draft. It looks like we start off with a Hammy. Chibi has an unknown pick, and then Hammy has a pick of, I believe that was Jacko Plague Knight. And it looks like Chibi drafted Talkaka first. Chibi will go ahead and take Beheaded in May next here. And we'll see what gets rounded out afterwards here by Hammy. All right, they're thinking about their last pick here of what they're going to go ahead and take. I know we saw Hammy was playing quite a bit of Ragna, so I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw that as the last pick here for this draft. Looks like they round out with Potemkin. Alrighty. This is a pretty interesting selection, so we'll kind of have to see how this takes place and fleshes out here. Both players will go ahead and make their first pick hidden, of course, as per usual, within the rules of the tourney. This is a best of 3 because it is still early in the tourney here for this particular match. Alright. I'm sorry if the stream's a little bit quiet. I don't get any background noise going for this particular recording here. We're just kind of rolling with my voice, and that's about it. Please let me know in the comments or just by DMing me if you if you have my Discord tag. Just letting me know if you would prefer background music for any of these or anything like that. I could probably find some no copyright sounds or something so as to not get copyright stricken if I were to put some like sounds in the background to just have something nice there so that you're not just listening to my voice 24/7. Looks like we're going to see Jacko versus Taukaka immediately. Taukaka, of course, being a very well-known wild swinger, she has a lot of stuff where if she positions at range 3 or range 4, she's probably going to hit you with most of her things. So we'll kind of have to see how Jacko wants to navigate this. It is going to be, whenever you're playing against Taukaka, it's usually on the player playing against Taukaka to kind of put Taukaka in her place, because otherwise Taukaka is just going to keep wild swinging at you, and she has cards that are most likely going to hit, so you're probably going to be taking damage, and then she can also just choose to pay a force to get out of most of your moves anyways. This is much more pertinent at range 4 than it is at range 3, because she does advance 2 on the wild swings. Of course, it's only on her strikes. But Jacko is not known for having the best defense, so I'm kind of hoping that Jacko just goes ahead and makes use of knowing that she has some range 4 options that Tao might not have access to, and then being able to kind of start just putting the hurt on Tao before Tao just starts running her over. You may see my mouse kind of flit over the screen a little bit and stuff. That's just me swapping between tabs and whatnot. Look at my other monitor, making sure things are fine and dandy on both ends. Alright, looks like we got Hell, which means Taukaka is going to end up going first here versus Jacko. I reckon Taukaka is literally just going to open with Wild Swing. I mean, Jacko is not known for having great defense, and at range 4 you can opt in to dodge any of the slows if they're played. So you're pretty safe against whatever happens here. You also do have some moves that just straight up push out of range, which are pretty good. Mostly in like the double paw strike at range. No, I mean, Sorry, that was a bit of a mistake on my. I meant to say the slashy because it has after push too, which will push the sweep out of range of the slashy. None of Talkaka's moves particularly break sweep except for or break focus except for trick edge, and none of them really break sweep either. The only reason trick edge ever does on both is because of ignore guard, and so that also doesn't hit at range 4. That's one of those ones where you have to wild swing at range 3. It's also a card you don't see played very often, even though it does have some funny properties at the edge of the arena where it closes 3. Alrighty. So, players are going to go ahead and draw off now. Taokaka's going to take first, of course. Taokaka's probably just going to look to get stuff like Grasp in hand, specifically because you don't really want a Wild Swing Grasp as Taokaka, especially if you're playing to stay at range 4. Make sure you get those Trick Edges, those Grasps, anything that doesn't hit at range 4, and dives, of course. Into hand, making sure that you're all set to go. It looks like Jacko is opting to keep in Cross, Dive, Iron Pumpkin, Servant Shoot, and Elysian Driver in hand. Looks like we get another Servant Shoot. This leaves no defensive cards in hand. You can open up with something like a Cross to start off the match when you're playing against Taokaka, but it is pretty risky because Taokaka does have a few Speed 6 cards. So you can just get caught out and be pretty sad about it. You could also opt in to just play Iron Pumpkin here. Looks like Taokaka's just going to boost defend instead of Wild Swing, which is fine. It just makes Taokaka's Wild Swings even more safe, especially if they choose to play something like a Cross, or the Iron Pumpkin. Well, just because those speeds are going to likely catch out Taokaka. Looks like we're going to immediately boost the Servant Shoot there, which will give us +1 range and a now draw 1. No way, it looks like we're not confident here striking into the Taokaka. That is a little bit risky to not start striking here, just because you kind of want to, kind of start this pressure a little bit early. I would have liked to see something like the Iron Pumpkin, or the Forever Elysian Driver boosted into the Iron Pumpkin just to get a little bit of damage off, get rid of that +1 armor, and then go ahead and start doing this other stuff. It looks like we're going to see that. I bet Taokaka's going to respawn in kind, though, because they could just dive or Kitty Litter. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so we see the Kitty Litter come out. That's unfortunate, because I made a bad call myself because I kind of forgot that that line existed. Ha. My brain went burr. So Taokaka goes ahead and steals advantage here. This ends up being bad for Jacko because she takes 3. Yep. That is the problem with defend. Yeah, should have Ukemi'd this. Just Ukemi'd the defend instead. That was a bad call on my part too. For the +1 range, you could also just done the focus, to be honest. Just because Taokaka is likely going to play something that closes into you at that range, or play a slow, and if you're either going to waste one of her slows, or she's going to close into you and smack you. Looks like Taokaka's going to do the almost becoming 2, place a known Wild Swing on top of deck, and then Wild Swing with it. So now she's going into range 1. You have to ask yourself, what is this? This could be something like the Trick Edge to catch out the focus. This could also be a fast. It looks like it's going to be the Spike, which is a good call here. Or actually not a good call from Jacko because it goes first. Yeah. So Spike advances 2, and we'll hit Jacko back for 5. There comes the focus into the cross. That's not great. We're a little bit sad about that. Accidentally takes 3 damage there instead of the 1, because of the 2 armor from focus. Unfortunately, since this is a recorded match, I won't be able to tell them of their little mishap there. Not really a whole lot of tools down from Taokaka here. where she can't just. All right, we're gonna boost the other servant shot or servant shoot. Another +1 range here. Yeah, we're just kind of in a weird spot because we don't really have anything that hits at range 5 unless we boost a lot into countdown or unless we pull out our range 3 to 4 or we just decide to dive this. But diving this is still pretty risky. Looks like we're just going to boost guard normally. We're kind of playing like a little bit of a slower pace Jacko, where we're just kind of boosting stuff instead of boosting and striking. We are down 7 life, which isn't the most exciting, or which isn't the most exciting thing in the world for us. So yeah, we're just kind of sitting at range 5 and chilling out with +1 range. Are we gonna let the sweep rock here? Range 4 sweep's pretty good. Think Taukaka, yeah. Just getting baited. That's unfortunate. Now Taukaka's at range 8. Just to kind of diffuse those boosts, this is what we call a poor man's tech, just diffusing the stack of boosts getting put up on us. Alright. Range 8 strike, I mean, this is probably just block generating more gauge. Yeah. Spends to slash to close 2 spaces. I think Taukaka's just kind of striking here because she knows she can't be hit by Jacko and she's just generating gauge with the block just because you know you can. So we're boosting again at range 6, which is fine to a point. The problem is that we don't have anything that hits at range 6. So we're going to have to find a way to just close ourselves in so that we can actually make use of our boosts. Because otherwise what's going to end up happening is if we just sit here and stack boosts on Taukaka, she's just going to strike and then we're going to lose all our boosts. And then we're going to end up spending a lot more cards than Taukaka in the end. So I reckon what's going to happen here is if we decide to boost again, Taukaka is just going to go ahead and strike us. We're going to lose all our boosts and then we're going to be quite sad. Because we're spending 3 cards at that point and then Taukaka spending 1. And that's just how that goes. Alright. Looks like we're going to get the top card to discard into Gauge and then draw 1 with the countdown boost there. It doesn't really matter what we put in Gauge right now because we're just going to use most of it to Exceed anyways. When we do Exceed, we do want to start seeing our continuous boosts in Gauge because that will allow us to actually utilize our backside UA. Takaka can strike here and be pretty happy with however this goes, to be honest. With the jeez, criminy, my notification bar here. Be kind of like a little bit happy here. Range 6, I mean, yeah. We'll just go ahead and see what she wants to do. I mean, you can boost here, you can move back in so you can start striking again. You also don't have anything that hits here. The only thing that's hitting at range 4 from Wild Swing is Dive or Kitty Litter Special anyhow. I mean, I guess you have the really funny play of Trick Edge actually does hit here with the Advance 2 because you could be for Close 3 with the Trick Edge and then before Advance 2 with your Wild Swing action. Going to move up 1 space, getting to range 3 because you have a few things that hit at range 3. It's still not great. You definitely prefer range 4. Being at range 4 rather than being at range 5 for Wild Swing purposes. But you can make some stuff hit here. Your options do get a little bit better because now you add Assault into the mix. You still have Kitty Litter Special. You still have Dive. You still have now Spike is online, and you also have Assault, right? Trick Edge is not an option anymore because it does not have that close 3 factor that it did at the edge of the map. Jacko just kind of looking at their backside. The problem with Jacko is you don't really want to exceed when you have a full hand because it's going to make you discard. I would really like to see Jacko get her UA going here at some point. Unfortunately, we're at range 4 where, once again, nothing really hits. Or range 5, I mean, where nothing hits, especially now that we're out of Sermo Shoot Boost. Or the Dopros. And yeah, that's pretty much just where we're at. Because Jacko just really can't hit anything here. Takaka sets a card. This will be the focus into the block, just to defuse those boosts again. I mean, this is practically what happens when your opponent is just playing boosts like this, is you can just go ahead and sit back there and just play a strike and be like, alright, all your boosts are gone. Especially if you know that nothing's going to hit you. Without those Servant Shoot boosts, without those Dopros, yeah, Jacko's not hitting anything. Now we're at range 4. This is where Telkaka wants to be, though. Yeah, here comes the Wild Swing. Telkaka realizing, oh hey, they moved into range 4. We're just going to Wild Swing here. This will be Cat Spirit 1 into the Iron Pumpkin, which will be validated, of course. We'll go ahead and spend 2 force here, I imagine. Yep, spending 2 force in the Ultra there to go ahead and get that 4 power. Yep. 3 force, so taking the 4 damage there. Iron Pumpkin will whiff. Telkaka goes back to range 4 where she wants to be. Now, this is just kind of the game of when you don't, or when you just kind of let her run over you, unfortunately. Gonna go ahead and take the prep action here. Telkaka's gonna Wild Swing once again. I mean, you have to kind of decide here, because you can let the cross rip, you can let the focus rip, or you can let the block rip. I want to really risk the dive just because Telkaka is most of the time going to outspeed dive. I'm going to let the cross rip into the kitty litter special, which will unfortunately not work because the advance 2 and then the close 2. Advantage now, Telkaka sitting at range 3. Range 3 isn't ideal. We could just go ahead and see Chibi strike here from hand. Looks like they're going to Wild Swing anyways, though. I mean, at this point, if they're sitting... I mean, Focus still isn't safe because, you know, the problem is that Telkaka is just going to go ahead and retreat if they think they're in danger from the Focus. So you probably just play the block here. Looks like we played the Chain of Chiron. Yep, which will go ahead and get snuffed out by that Assault. Chibi gonna go ahead and strike from hand here. If I had to guess, this is the other Ultra. Yeah, this is the Hexa Edge. I figured. I mean, you're up 26 to 8 there. You could pretty much play whatever you want. This is Grasp, sure. Go ahead and take 1 here on the side of Jacko. And this hand is not looking great. I mean, there's not a whole lot we can do here, to be honest. We're just going to set the Wild Swing, and this will be the death of us. Spike into block. We did not die. Chibi will go ahead and prep here, sure. Go ahead and prep from Jacko. And Jacko unfortunately didn't draw anything that's going to save them here. Cat jump out of the corner. Back to range 3. Yeah. I mean, this is Exceed. This is comebackable, but it is insanely hard to come back from this position. UA Strike would dive +1 speed. Other block, question mark. Cat Spirit 1. I'll move this out of range. That's actually a smart Cat Spirit 1. That's a pretty funny, yeah, that's pretty funny Cat Spirit 1. I didn't actually think of that line. Just using it to retreat too. Makes sense. I mean, you have so much gauge you can spend as force. So you're just kind of fine with this? The grasp into the assault. Speed 7 assault will beat the grasp. And that is first game. First game goes to Taukaka. Over the Jacko here. Yeah, that's just kind of what happens if you let Jacko run over you. I mean, Taukaka run over you. That's what the Taukaka game looks like. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Chibi's gonna go ahead and pick first character now since they did win the match. They still have a beheaded and I actually don't remember their other draft. Yeah, they still have the beheaded and they still have their other pick there. Alrighty, let's see what Chibi goes ahead and Alright, here is the beheaded coming out. Looks like we're gonna play the Potemkin or the Plague Knight into the beheaded. So the thing with beheaded, right, is beheaded is a build your own character type character, where he wants to just kind of play these strikes, get to 2 gauge, exceed, get himself a UA because he doesn't start with any, and then keep kind of doing that because he has 3 different upgrades he can do. He has +2 power on specials, he has +1 armor, +2 guard on specials, and then he has +1 range on specials. Now, each beheaded player will go ahead and tell you differently on which is the best to take. And then, of course, there are some that will tell you it's situational. So we'll have to go ahead and see how Chibi decides to play this beheaded into this Plague Knight. Of course, Plague Knight being a character that wants to craft or carefully craft their hand because they are an alchemist and they want to hit you with these attacks that get super boosted by all these effects. So Plague Knight, whenever he sets a strike, he can go ahead and I don't remember if it's on initiate or on only on initiate or if it's on either, but he gets to craft these attacks where he can go ahead and have you choose a random card from his hand, and then that attack gets the before, hit, and after effects of that attack. So, for instance, if you were to take this Castle Crasher here and put it on block, block would have the hit effect of +2 power. It does not get the ignore armor because the ignore armor is not a before hit or after effect. And then, of course, they do have the crazy one in triple dose where everything triggers at 2 additional times, which makes everything pretty crazy, especially stuff like Castle Crashers. So generally what you'll see Plague Knights do is you'll see them flip to backside because then they get two different bonuses. And then you'll see them craft their hand so that they have an attack they want to play and then effects they want to go on that attack. If you don't craft your hand as Plague Knight, you can end up with stuff that's really silly that just doesn't end up working. So it looks like we'll see the +1 speed, advance 1 from Chibi here on that boost, which will go ahead and take down the dive attack, which is fine. We're not super sad about losing a dive attack as beheaded, and that +1 speed is pretty nice, especially since we don't really have an ability right now. Beheaded, of course, just has a pretty decent or pretty good card lineup in these attacks here. So sitting at range 3, with the +1 speed, we are threatening quite a bit of stuff. We could threaten the other dive attack. We could threaten wrenching whip. Uh, we could threaten the infantry bow, although I think that's like a lesser option that we're gonna see. And then of course we have all our normals. Plague Knight can hit us at range 3, but not a whole lot. It looks like we are going to end up boosting. I believe that was the Staff of Surging, getting that now draw 2, then strike, and then after draw 2 cards on the effect. We're going to go ahead and activate the UA here, it looks like, on the Plague Knight. Going to go ahead and get the Perfect Pitch out, which will do hit, draw a card, then the opponent must discard a card at random. Here comes the response from Chibi here. It's going to be the dive into the wrenching rip. This is a really, really risky dive. I really don't like this dive play specifically because we know our opponent has +1 speed. So they can just go ahead and play something faster than us and then just decide that we don't get to hit them. I would have liked to see something more like one of our sweep-like shapes if we were looking to kind of contest this. Unless we had like an EX Solt or something here. Specifically because these attacks here, like the giant bomb or just sweep itself, have these guards on them. That means that unless we got absolutely called out and our opponent just played a spike or dive of their own, then those are going to be pretty safe. All right, we just see the prep come out from Chibi on that end. Sitting at range 4 means we are sitting on the infantry bow. The infantry bow is notably slower than the long pitch. So we could just see a long pitch come out, although I don't think we have it here from, yeah, we don't have it here from our Plague Knight player. Looks like we're considering boosting the bomb burst to get back into range 1, which isn't the worst idea in the world. Especially since we don't have any long pitches in hand. That does allow us to go ahead and threaten the giant bomb more likely here. Notably because Beheaded doesn't really have anything that ignores guard or ignores armor. So I think going to range 1 is a pretty good idea, especially since we don't have any options. At least that's what I would do in this situation. Just immediately get ourselves into range 1, which is where we want to be. And yeah. Also, if we were going for that dive play earlier, I would have 100% like to see the Serum Supernus boosted instead, in all honesty. That way it forces our opponent to actually cross out of that dive instead of just being able to hit us for free. There we go. There's the advanced 3. That's perfectly fine. It's been a perfect pitch going to range 1. Alright, we're going to UA strike here. And we UA strike the Castle Crasher, which means this is +2 power. +2 power focus into the cross. I'm kind of curious why we U8 that, knowing that knowing that the opponent had +2 speed and was more than likely just going to do something like a simple or a cross out like that. We could have just played the block there with no UA and then gotten a, just gotten ourselves a free gauge so we could get to backside faster. All right, so our opponent takes +1 rage. This, of course, only applies to specials. Specifically, it does make things like Wrenching Whip hit here. Wrenching Whip will hit here, Dive Attack always hit here in the first place, and then Assault Shield will also hit here. Chain Reaction, as long as we get some power on it, is pretty safe. We could do something like the Serum Supernus and then just play the Long Pitch. Looks like we're going to go ahead and opt in for the prep here. We could have played Long Pitch as well without the Serum Supernus just because it already has a Spend 1 Force +2 power. So we are feeling pretty safe just playing that. Looks like Chibi's going to go ahead and take the option to strike here. I mean, you have EX Serum Supernus in hand, or EX Long Pitch in hand. I think you just drop it here. Yep, there we go. This will go ahead and beat out the Wrenching Whip. Oh, wait, no, it won't, because he's on Exceed side. Man, I'm paying attention today, aren't I? Well, I would have also lost that strike because I'm not paying attention to the Exceed side of Beheaded there. No UA there. So we'll go ahead and see the Wrenching Whip beat out the Long Pitch, specifically because of the backside flip of... Yeah, neither me nor the Plague Knight player looked at the Beheaded backside by accident. There we go. All right. Yeah, that was just a non-curve play from Chibi, just playing the Wrenching Whip on curve there. Because, it's 1 to 4 and it's 6 speed, so pretty good. Pretty good play. Beats basically anything Plague Knight can throw at you, so Plague Knight just had an option of block or take 4. Which was the EX Long Pitch. Now Long Pitch is down, which is really good for Beheaded here, because Beheaded can just go ahead and spam out that infantry bow now. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and see the Wolf Trap boosted, which means that now the opponent doesn't get to move as an action. They can take 2 lethal damage to discard the non-lethal damage to discard the Wolf Trap, or they could choose to tech it if they get a dive in hand. Looks like they're discussing life totals there for a second. Yeah, we're just kind of in an unfortunate position as Plague Knight because Beheaded is kind of out-resourcing us at this point, and there's not really much we can do about it. I think Beheaded is just kind of looking for the infantry bow now, because the infantry bow is just hitting for 4. It is a 2 to 6 now, especially. So even if Plague Knight tries to dive in, especially without those long pitches on the table, we don't really have anything we can do to respond to this. Man, I am coughing and sneezing a lot today. Sorry, you keep having to hear me go quiet there. Looks like Plague Knight's kind of thinking of what they want to do here. I mean, you just gotta get back into range because otherwise you're never gonna hit any of these moves. You don't have any gauge to play the Castle Crashers, and you don't have any log pitches left, so you are kind of forced to be at close range now. The farthest any of your moves are going to hit is going to be range 3 in that like chain reaction and giant bomb there. And especially with us being threatened with the infantry bow constantly here, it is not great. So we're just going to go ahead and spend our 2 life to get rid of that wolf trap, which is pretty happy, or Beheaded's pretty happy about, to be honest. That just kind of signifies to our opponent that we do not have dive to tech it. Just kind of sit still. I mean, we're just really heavy shelling here as our Beheaded if we're not striking with infantry bow that we don't have it. Because you have no reason to not let infantry bow rip at this point. Plague Knight has nothing that hits you here. Looks like we're going to move to range 4. Yeah, we're showing really that we don't have infantry bow at all. Infantry bow is on the bottom of our deck or something. Of course, Plague Knight doesn't have anything that hits a range 4 either in this position, so they do still have to go to range 1 to 3. I would prefer range 1 still if I'm Plague Knight in this position. We're going to go to range 2. Covering that 3 option, this is fine because we can go ahead and let stuff like Giant Bomb rip now. Looks like our opponent's going to boost light here. What this really signifies is that we have to be careful of something like the Speed 5 Spike. Looks like we're going to go ahead and strike with the Giant Bomb anyways with the UA, getting +2 power here. Yeah, I mean, this is just a situation where we hope our opponent doesn't play Spike. And our opponent played Spike. Yeah. That's kind of what happens when you play something like the Giant Bomb there, is you do have to respect that your opponent does have a 5-speed Spike on the table now, and playing Spike on defense while you're on this kind of like level of life lead is pretty much like, okay, you want to play the slow here because it covers range 1 to 3, but, you know, you're going to run into the Speed 5 Spike. So that Speed 5 Spike was just a really good call out there saying, hey, you're not playing in Assault-like, so... Now we're back to Beheaded on backside. He goes ahead and picks up the +1/+2. So now we're sitting at +1 range, +1/+2. These are both the kind of utility ones from Beheaded rather than the raw power, which is perfectly fine. Like I said, Beheaded's kind of one of those characters where people will go ahead and talk about all day on what's actually best on Beheaded here. Looks like we're going to go ahead and let an attack rip here. Might be the other Giant Bomb into the cross, which Giant Bomb will take 4. And then a cross will take 6. And then we'll go ahead and advance 1. Being down 12 life isn't the best thing in the world for us, but we are Plague Knight. We can just go ahead and blow up the opponent at some point. That's just kind of what Plague Knight does. Looks like this is the turn after the strike, so this is heavily signifying the Twin Daggers, which is going to be 5 power into our focus. We'll go ahead and take 3. The opponent will go ahead and take 3 as well because of the +1 armor from the survival there. That was the correct answer to the Twin Daggers. The unfortunate part here is we're so low on life that it's starting to not matter because Beheaded can just go ahead and take these trade downs. Just because, you know, they do have this life lead here. So now we kind of, we're going to see the final Beheaded Exceed. This is going to give him +2 power on specials, which means his next attack is going to have +3 power if it's a special. That is very, very dangerous for us. Like, we're just going to go ahead and boost our own sweep, boost light here. And the light will go ahead and detect, which makes a lot of sense. Alrighty, so sitting at range 2, we have EX Chain Reaction in hand. This isn't the best chain reaction in the world because, you normally want to use chain reaction once you've killed your hand. We go ahead and boost the chain reaction to add 1 to hand and 1 to gauge. Probably look to add like the spike to gauge, add triple dose to hand. Yeah, it's probably something like that. And then I'm not sure if block gets discarded. It doesn't really say on this card that I'm looking at here. Pretty sure it just goes back on top of the deck, yeah. Looks like we put block in hand. No, you don't have to show. Triple dose engage, really? Alright. So the weird part about putting triple dose engage here, right, is you don't use triple dose as the effect on your UA because all it does is have after draw a card. You can use it for its boost though, especially when you're running low on gauge and stuff. Although the really weird part about this is that you could you don't really have a good setup for triple dose in hand at this point, I suppose. Unless you really wanted to go to range 8 for some reason with the cross, or just put somebody wherever you want. Yeah, basically what Chibi's explaining here is that you get the other 2 cards to hand because one just goes on top of your deck and then you drop end of turn. So you put one in hand, one engaged, the other one stays on top of your deck and then you draw it on end of turn. Yeah, it looks like we're figuring that out right now. Alrighty. So sitting at range 2, still down quite a hefty amount of life here. I mean, I feel like you just kind of just make a decent strike here and you're fine, to be honest. Play something fast so that they can't cross out. Are we parrying the cross or are we parrying block? Yeah, we're parrying the cross. That makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Just don't let our opponent leave now that they're in, just so we can go ahead and finish them off. That's just kind of signifying that we don't have any speed 5s to beat the cross, or we're afraid their opponent has EX cross to actually beat one of our speed 6s or speed 5s will become a speed 6 with this +1 speed. You're kind of in this position here as the Plague Knight, where you do need to find an answer to deal with what's going on here. So we're going to go ahead and see the +2 power boosted into the defend. A good response to the +2 power, because what this does is if you play something like sweep here, sweep will hit for 8, and if your opponent plays something like something we haven't seen like Assault Shield, which is 2 guard, 2 armor, which now has +1, +2, and then another +1, +4, so it effectively has +2, +6. That's a really hefty defense or Assault Shield, and if you decide to strike with sweep here, oh my god. You have to tech that. Yeah, please tech that with that dive. That +4 power. Please tech that with that dive right now. That is illegal. That is illegal in your situation, and you need to tech that. I guess you could also tech the defend, but then you have to worry about whatever gets played on offense. We're going to boost speed, though. Holy moly, we're playing the boost war into this. This is terrifying. Yeah, this is pretty terrifying, actually. Uh, we're gonna see another boost here from Chibi, Knife Dance. So also give advantage. Well, we just got another chance to tech it, so please tech something. I would definitely tech the +4 power or the +1, +4, or +3 if you're certain you can beat out whatever's about to come. Oh my goodness. Now we also have +4 on our end. Oh, this is going to get explosive. JV goes ahead and preps. I mean, the head is up on so much life that he does not care about whatever this is. Staff of Surging won't hit. You need perfect pitch if you want to just guarantee lots of damage here, but then you're still getting slammed by Assault Shield for 1,000,000. This is why I really wanted to be at range 1. Because if you're at range 1, unless your opponent has EX Grasp, you can just slam Staff of Surging here. Oh, we're doing. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I already know how this is gonna go. Well, at least you get a different extra gauge if you hit, so that's cool. Or if you miss, which yeah, doesn't do anything. You get a gauge if you miss. Nice. All right. Well, I'm 90% sure this is Assault Shield. Like this Assault Shield just beats most things here. Oh, it's +1 range grasp. Nice. That's 7 power or 8 power grasp. Yeah, yeah. Oh goodness, yeah. This is why I want to be at range 1. And that kids is why I wanted to be at range 1. Now we play the infantry bow if we have it, which we do. Unless this is just the fast dive, which also works. As beheaded, or as deploying knight, you just drop the thing there. Yep, this is 6 power infantry bow. Pitch the triple dose from Gauge probably. Looks like we're gonna pitch Staff of Surging, and then the focus from Gauge. Alright. We're still alive, barely. But we're hanging on. Doors. Slam the dive and be sad when it gets assault shielded. I mean, not really. You have to go for a reshuffle here and play around like long pitch to not die here. Back up one play for long pitch so you don't get hit by assault shield. Well, this assault shield is 1 to 2. No, assault shield's 1. If assault, no, it's 1 to 2 because of that. So yeah, you back up to range 5 and then you play around long pitch here and Castle Crusher. That's what you have to do here. You're pretty much your main way back in the game. Unless you can get a really nutty triple dose off. Looks like we're gonna boost here, and then we have Assault, Dive, and Spike in hand that's known. Just pitch block going there, signifying we don't have reading, because if we had reading, we would have just read the dive and then sent it with Assault Shield. Or another infantry bow. Looks like we're gonna go for the risky dive here, maybe. There's not really a lot you can do here. I mean, if Chibi has a 6-speed, they're just gonna mash it. Phaser. Phaser to steal advantage makes sense. Take no damage. advantage with +4 power now. Yeah. Mash Grasp. Yeah, this is pretty lights out for Plague Knight, unfortunately. This is lights out. Here comes the EX of whatever this is. You just Wild Swing here as Plague Knight and hope you get a block. That's all you can really do. You play something from, Yep. Yep, you just slam Wild Swing here. This is the correct idea. Your hand is not going to beat any kind of EX here. Unless it's EX Sweep, which we've already seen Sweep boosted. Perfect Pitch into EX Assault. Alright, that's GG. That's all she wrote. Chibi went ahead and took this match 17-0 in this particular game, and then 2-0 in the set, eliminating Hammy from the bracket. I hope you guys enjoyed, even though I had some pretty bad calls myself there in this match. Yeah, we are in the finals of the tournament, grand finals of the tournament now. We're just waiting for the Feathers versus Polterghost match to get scheduled, and then I'll go ahead and bring you guys that live. That is one where the bracket can be reset if Feathers wins, since he is coming from loser's side. So we'll go ahead and have to see once we get around to that, who is going to go ahead and take that. Thanks everyone that's watching this video, and I hope you guys have a good one.